Well, we had a little breakdown in the rain, but it's still gonna come some more. Everything is soaking wet. Look at the grass. Nice and green. Look at this thing. It's been pouring for the past 3 days. And with all this water coming down and more yet to come, don't worry, Californians. By summertime, we're all going to be in another drought. That's the rhetoric, you know. Okay, guys, Happy New Year. I did a video before the end of the year, but it got corrupted somehow and I couldn't use it, so I deleted it. So I'm making another one. I was shopping around for bullets so I can start loading for the season, this coming season, and going to practice and, you know, the same routine. So I showed this last year. The only bullet I can find was this 168 E-tip, which is a very good bullet. It says here, consistent expansion, 95% weight retention, and deep penetration. I did kill a deer last, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, with 150 grain, but I can't find that bullet. I've been calling and looking. Nobody has it. I went online a couple of places, they didn't have it. So I said, well, I'm gonna have to change to another bullet because if I can't find it, I only got like 4 or 5 left of the 150. That's not gonna be enough to go shoot at the range. So I started doing some research, and I found out that the 168, that's pretty good. And that's what I used to use for pig hunting. It's a little heavy for deer, especially if you're going to shoot far. But I started doing some research, and I went and I started looking at the 165. And it turns out that the 165, it outperforms the 150, which is a lighter bullet. As far as the flight and the energy and everything. And I'm going, really? So let me give you some numbers. The 150 E-tip, and I loaded the maximum load according to the book. I'm not making the powder amount. I'm not making it up. So all these bullets have 503 bullet coefficiency. And the bullet weight, it's 150. And 150 has barrel muzzle velocity of 2830. At 500 yards, the bullet drops 42.96, so rounded off to 43 inches. And the energy at 500 yards is 1318 pounds of energy, and the velocity is 1989. I said, let me check the 68. It didn't print out. I got the 65. Well, I know it already. It's the powder was 2820, so 10 pounds less. Bullet coefficient, it was the same, 503. Energy was 1389, I believe. And the velocity was a little bit slower than the 150. Now the 165, it's same 503 coefficient. The powder muzzle velocity is 2850, so it's a little higher by 10 feet than it's 20 higher than the 150 and 10 higher than the 168. the drop at 500 yards was 42.28. So it's 42 and a quarter. Energy is 1474. And the velocity was 2006. So the drop at 168 was 43.59, I believe. So it's like an inch something. If you look at the trajectory rainbow, they're all pretty close together. So I said, well, my scope on my rifle it's adjusted to the 150 grain and the temperature and the height and the speed and everything else. So this comes, the 165 comes pretty close. Pretty close. And it's got better energy. It's faster. I mean, the 150 is 1318. The 165 is 1474. So it's got more, over 100. 160. So I said, okay, I like the 165. Let's see if we can find it. And I called this guy, the local shop, and he says no. And I don't know what's going on with this guy, but he basically is running out of stuff and he can't get anything. So I said, let me look at let me look online, and I found the 165 CX by Hornady, and it looked like a pretty good bullet. It's got pretty good ballistics, and I said, okay, let me see some videos. So I went on YouTube and I saw some people shooting it, and I saw how it shapes when it shoots, and I like the bullet, and I said, okay, well, now let me see if I can find it. So I looked at some stores, and I found Turner's, which is not too close to me, about 20-minute drive. And I looked at their online store, and they said they had it. I called, but nobody was picking up. So I said, all right, I'll make a drive. And I got a friend in the area. I said, hey, meet me down. I'm going down to Turner's. So we went down, and lo and behold, they had it. And I bought it. And this is it. The CX 165. It's the same E-tip as the Nosler. It's just that this is a Hornady. And it's also a boat tail, and it's full copper. And it says here, monolithic copper alloy delivers deep penetration, 95% weight retention. And that's very important that it retains the weight, because on my previous video that I couldn't load, I mentioned that some of these high bullets, those high coefficiency bullets, fall apart when you hit something. I seen a couple of videos. I don't know what kind of bullets they were shooting, but they keep saying it's high. You know, it was a 6.5, I think, 6.5 Creedmoor, and then another one's a 6.0 millimeter, high coefficiency, and they just, when they shot through gallons of water, they fell apart. The ballistic coefficiency does not mean that you're getting a better hitting or a game bullet that it's going to kill. It means that it's a flatter flying bullet. It's a better flying bullet. It doesn't mean that it's a game killer. You don't want to shoot an animal, especially a big body animal, like a deer or an elk, that when it hits, it's going to wound the animal. It's going to run off and bleed. And if you shoot him in late afternoon, you're not going to find him. And then you're going to have a problem finding that animal if it's wounded, especially at night. So I bought two. Let me go back to the bullets, and I'll keep talking about the ballistic coefficient. I got two because that's all they had, and I said, you know what? I'm having such a hard time finding all these types of different bullets, and I said, I found these, and I'm keeping them. Here's a picture. That's why I bought two. Here's a picture of what the bullet's supposed to be like when you hit something. It's like a mushroom, and that's the way it's supposed to be. The Sierras are known for doing that. The ones with the lead core. I don't know what they do now. I haven't shot Sierra for a while. I think I ran out already. And I was looking around, and my friends. And by the way, this thing's cost me. Let me see. They're not cheap like they used to. $49.99 a piece, $50. So, and my friend points out, like, hey, look at this one. It's a 150 for $22.99. And I said, really? Compared to the other stuff, that's $50. And I said, let me see. So what I did is I bought, just for shits and giggles, I bought a box of TSX Barnes with a hollow tip. And look at the picture there with the mushroom. It's supposed to flare up like a rose, like a flower. And it's all copper hunting bullet. 150 grains, which is what I was looking for. So I can use this for hunting also, or for target. So, but it's not, it's a flat base. It's not a boat tail. I've always shot boat tails. This is made in Mona, Utah. I haven't even opened it. I used to shoot the flat bay. I used to shoot the boat tails, the Federal Premium. To me, that's one of the best bullets around. I shot the Remington Corlock and the Grand Slam, but it wasn't flying that well with my rifle. When I started shooting the boat tails in the Federal, I think that was one of the first companies that came up with a boat tail. I started hitting very well on target. Very good accuracy. It fed well through the gun, and I said, bingo, that's the bullet for this gun. And ever since, I've been loading boat tails. So I got enough now for a long while. I'm not going to go through those. I don't go to the range and spend 100 rounds. I just shoot a few of this gun, a few of that gun, and I make sure all the guns are sighted in, and then I go home. I try to shoot as least as possible, especially now, being that everything is so hard to find and so expensive to buy. All right, so let me go back to the high ballistic coefficient. Some of these rifles, a lot of the 6mm and 6.5, 6.8, I'm not saying all of them. Some of these bullets are falling apart when they hit something. I saw a video by Backfire, this kid from Utah. And he was shooting, I think he was shooting 6mm or 6.5. He was shooting at some water jugs. And when he went to pick up the bullet, he picked it up in pieces. And he goes, oh, look, the core came off, and he had like a little cup of copper. And the core was someplace else. And I said, that's not going to kill an animal falling apart like that. It's supposed to be a solid, slam, a solid piece. And that creates the impact and the shock and everything else. If you hit bone or something, if you hit a bone and the thing fragments, it's not going to really break or penetrate or do anything. It might wound the deer, and then you're not going to find the deer because he went off running and bleeding and dying. Let me tell you what happened to a friend of mine. This guy went and shot a deer late afternoon, and the deer took off, and he couldn't find the deer. I don't know what kind of bullet he was shooting, but he was shooting a 308, a Tikka, and he couldn't find the deer. So he went back to camp, and I drove by. I saw him at camp, and I say hi. He invited me, come down, and I got food here. And he was hunting by himself. Usually he has a big camp with about 4 or 5 guys, but he was hunting by himself, and he wanted to at least have some company. So we started talking, and he said, yeah, I got a deer, and tomorrow I'm going to go pick it up. He wanted to use his cart that he bought to carry the deer. And I said, oh, okay, I'll stick around, and I'll help you. get the deer down the mountain. So in the morning we went in with the cart, and when he we saw some deer cross the trail in front of us, and I borrowed his rifle, but by the time I was ready, they were gone. So he says, "Look, I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna go get the deer. It's pretty close in the area where I shot it." And he says, "I'll come down. I'll meet you here because the deer might come by again." So I stay around with the gun. I kind of went off the side of the trail and waited for those deer to come by, because sometimes they do a circle. They come back again. Sometimes. So about half an hour later, here comes my friend with the cart and the head of the deer and nothing else. And I said, well, what happened? Where's the deer? Where's the rest of it? He goes, it's gone. I say, what do you mean it's gone? He goes, yeah, I just found the head. I found pieces of hide and a leg here and whatever, but the deer is gone. And what happened was that in these mountains where we hunt, there's mountain lions, there's bears, and there's coyotes. If you hit an animal with a bullet that's going to fragment and wounded the deer, if you're in a farm, the deer goes off and dies somewhere in the brush. If you don't find it, by the time you find it in the morning, he might have some damage from a coyote. You know, he chewed a piece or tore it up a little bit, but most of the deer is going to be there, unless there was a pack of coyotes and then they had a big dinner. But if you're hunting in these mountains, you're not going to find it, because the bears and the mountain lions, they can pick up a carcass and drag it off, like the same way you give a dog a big bone and he's going to go off somewhere to eat it where he likes to be. These animals do the same thing. I seen videos of cougars grab the deer by the neck and he's just walking in the carcass is between his legs. He's dragging it. He's taking it off to his lair somewhere, or some spot he wants to sit down and eat it. And the bears do the same thing. So something got at my friend's deer that he only got the head left. So, I said, well, what are you going to do with that? And he had the tag on. I said, no, don't waste the tag on this. This is gone. A little horn like this, and it was a 3-point thing, and it wasn't worth. I said, what'd you shoot this for? This is not really a trophy. He goes, oh, well, I saw it, and he's a new hunter. He just didn't want to let him pass. But on the way back, I see there were two deers. I see the same two deers we saw going in up on the hill, on the ridge. And I said, let me have your gun. And I put one of my bullets in there. I just put one. And I aimed at right on the upper shoulder, where the leg just basically finishes, right there, at 168 yards exactly, uphill. And I shot him, and the deer, they did that jump they do, and he took off. So we went after him up the hill, which is very, very steep. We were kind of sliding down. And when we got to the spot, there was a lot of blood. We looked off to the side, and within 30 feet, there he was. Because the bullet that I shot him with, it was this one, in 150 grain bullet. And this thing does the same deal. It doesn't have a picture of it, but it does the same deal that the other ones do. They kind of become like a punch, like a fist, becomes a big ball, and boom, and hit him and kill him. He didn't suffer. He wasn't kicking. He wasn't alive. Like I seen some deer, they get shot and they're still moving around and stuff like that, because I hit him with a good bullet. Now, some of these bullets, I don't know what my friend was shooting. That deer should have dropped right there where he shot it. And the reason He couldn't find it because the deer took off. Either he had the right bullet and he put the bullet in the wrong, not in the right spot. That happens. If you shoot him in the guts. Nobody aims for the guts. But if something like that happened, you hit him in the rump or you hit him someplace else that is not a vital, there's no vitals, the deer's going to take off further and then drop. And that's what happened to him. I saw a guy shooting. He was a hunter, a friend of mine. We were hunting with 30-30s back in the day. I'm talking 70s. He shot a deer in the heart, and that deer ran for 100 yards. I don't remember if it was 150 or I don't remember the grain on the bullet, but he hit him in the heart. The heart exploded. But the deer, when you get shot, you get this adrenaline rush, and you can just run, basically with an exploded heart. As long as the lungs are working, I guess the deer could make it further, you know. And we found him 100 yards with the heart completely blown. So you got to hit him in the right spot with the right bullet. The ballistic coefficient on all these other bullets you hear about, that they're putting a lot of they're putting a lot of emphasis on the bullet coefficient. Oh, the high numbers and the six something, almost 700. And I said, yeah, that's perfect if you're shooting target, because a lot of people say, oh, with a 6.5 Creamer you can shoot 1,000 yards. And well, yeah, but me as a hunter, I'm not going to shoot anything at 1,000 yards. That's ridiculous. You're not a hunter. That's why you're shooting. If you're hunting, you're not going to shoot 1,000. You're going to shoot that at paper. You're going to shoot 1,000 yards at paper, at targets, you know, a metal plate or something, and you're going to hear it ring or whatever. But you're not going to shoot at an animal. If you're a real hunter, you want that animal to drop when you hit him, not to take off. So those bullets are basically designed and made for target shooters. The high ballistic coefficient. Those bullets are made for target shooters, and they're great bullets for that. But you don't want a bullet that, like this kid, when he shot the jugs, it went through, I don't know, 2 or 3 jugs. He picked it up. It was in pieces. If you do that to an animal, he's not going to drop. He's not dead enough. He's going to die, but he's not dead enough. At impact, he's going to die a few hundred yards away. And if you shoot him in the late afternoon, and if he drops down a ravine or something, you're not going to find him. When you come back, there's nothing left. That's why you have to, don't put so much emphasis and bet all your money on high, ballistic coefficient. You got to bet your money on a good, solid game bullet. Sierra, Nosler, Hornady, that they make those bullets, even the Barnes bullet, that they're made for impact, not to fall apart. There is a 130. Let me see. Hang on a second. I saw a video of some people shooting 308. I think it was 125 grains. I don't remember what kind of bullet it was, but the bullet was designed to fragment. And those bullets, those small bullets, are designed for small game like rabbits, ground squirrels, that kind of, if you're going to be shooting varmints and that kind of thing, a raccoon or whatever. And they were shooting at a target and said, oh, look, this is not good for deer, because, of course not. That bullet's not designed for deer. It's designed for something else. So they were thinking that all the bullets do that. They just became like little gravel, just fell apart. I forget the bullet type, but it's designed for that. It breaks apart, disintegrates. So it doesn't disintegrate, it fragments. So what I'm going to do later when the season, when this weather, because it's been raining, we've had like two storms. There's another one more or two more coming, and they're supposed to be huge. When all this rain is past and gone, and it warms up, I'm gonna go to the desert, take some water jugs, and I'm gonna test these bullets to see if they're really gonna be in one piece, um, like they're supposed to. The bullet that kid was shooting up in Utah, he didn't mention what it was. He said it was a 6.5, I think it was, and I was incredibly, I was amazed that he didn't comment on the bullet just falling apart, hitting water. He didn't comment. He just, oh look, it broke apart. But you got to think about it. If you're gonna hit an animal with that bullet, you're not making a solid kill. You're wounding the animal, and to me, that's bad. You need to drop him right there, grand slam. Uh, Imagine if you're hunting mountain goats or sheep, ram up in those mountains. You got to climb like a goat to get up there. You pay a lot of money for those tags. They cost thousands of dollars to get a tag to go hunting up there. And you're fatigued, you're tired, you gotta get in shape to do those type of hunts. You really gotta go to the gym and work out and prepare months, 6, 7 months, 8 months ahead of time to be solid in your legs and your lungs, everything, because you're gonna be in high altitude hunting those big sheep and big rams. And then you're gonna take a bullet that's gonna fragment, and you're not gonna kill that animal right there where you're aiming, and you want him to drop right there. You don't want him to roll down a mountain. Then you gotta go, oh my God, I gotta go down there and fetch him because he's wounded. You don't want that. So you want to know that your bullets are solid when they hit, and that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna test, and I'm making a video about it because um, the high ballistic coefficient doesn't mean that you have a game bullet. There's some bullets that they have low coefficient, like the flat base, and you get 469 coefficient. You get 496. You get 389. It doesn't mean it's a bad bullet. It means it's not going to fly as smooth and as straight as the bolt tails with the high coefficient. But let me tell you, those bullets are game killers. You hit a deer, so you got to put some weight on it. That's why I went up to the 165, because I noticed that the energy goes up because you got more momentum, more weight behind that bullet. When it hits, it's going to be a solid hit. It's going to be a stronger hit, more impact, and it's going to drop. If you hit him with a light bullet, that animal's going to keep going, or he's going to drop. He's going to be wounded, and hurting. I shot that big 9-pointer in Wyoming with 130 270. And when I went to him, he dropped because I shot him pretty close. I shot him within 100 yards. He must have been 60 yards or so. That's why he dropped. But if I would have shot him over 200, he would have kept going, because that was a big body animal. I'm talking 240, maybe 250. He was a big body animal. When I went to him, he wanted to get up. I'm going to make a video about that. It's something that it doesn't give me pleasure to talk about it because it wasn't a clean kill. And after that, I have never loaded 130 again. 270, I'm using 140, but I've never loaded 130 again. It's if you're going to shoot far, unless you're doing antelope, the antelope, I shot it about 130 yards, and he dropped right there. And if you ask me how was it that you can get that close, and say, I'm going to make a video about that too, because I'm telling you, every animal on this vault has a story. Every animal has a story. It wasn't easy. So I'm gonna do videos about those things, about those stories. All right, guys. So I just want to let you know that I'm still here, and I'm gonna keep loading and getting ready, and hopefully this cold weather because it's freaking cold. My feet are freezing. I got the garage door open. The sun is up, but it's freaking cold. And I'm wearing this heavy jacket because forget about it. All right. I will see you on the next one. And thank you.